I'm Dale Smith for Loony Politics, and the situation with the Status of Women Committee and the ambush study and the walkout by witnesses and all of that drama has prompted certain media outlets to try and get the minister involved and try and get her particular take on what's going on. The thing is that ministers don't direct committees. And they are supposed to stay arm's length from them because committees are supposed to be masters of their own destiny. Now, this is an important concept in Parliament because the whole purpose of Parliament is to hold government, and by government we mean cabinet, to account. And committees are one of the means by which they do that. One of the most means by which they especially do that is around the estimates process. And that's when they scrutinize how much each department is being allocated, and ministers are obligated to come in and answer questions around that spending. Now, most of the time, those questions tend to revolve around issues of the day, but that is how it's structured. And the whole point of committees in that case is to hold that minister to account and not the other way around. Now, we have had problems around this in recent memory, particularly during the Harper years when there was a majority. And at that time, parliamentary secretaries were put on committees and given voting privileges, and they were essentially steering those committees to the government's benefit to the point at which certain people were referring to these committees as branch plants of ministers' offices. Now, there are a few committees that are opposition chaired under the standing orders, so those are a little harder for the government to control, but nevertheless, committees were far less independent during that particular period. When the Trudeau government came in, and they had a majority of their own, they did not have the parliamentary secretaries on committees with voting privileges. They were attending in non-voting capacities, which is, again, still kind of a problem, but less so than it was when the parliamentary secretaries were on the committees and voting. But when the when the Trudeau government lost their majority in the House of Commons, that meant that committees needed to be bigger in order to accommodate the different seat proportions, which meant that they didn't have enough MPs to run the committees without having the parliamentary secretaries involved. And lo and behold, that's where they are once again, with parliamentary secretaries on the committees as voting members, because there weren't enough MPs to go around otherwise. And that is a problem in our system. Nevertheless, the rule is that the minister does not direct the committee. And no matter how many times the opposition will try and insinuate that's the case, and no matter how many times there are allegations that the PMO is pulling strings, that is nevertheless the parliamentary standard by which the committee is the master of its own destiny. The government can't tell it what to do because they have that semblance of independence. How much it is in practice, harder to tell, but that's how things are supposed to be operating. And that's why I think it's kind of offensive for particularly media outlets to try and draw the minister in this particular committee dispute. It's not the minister's issue, and she shouldn't be weighing in on that because it should be the committee and its members who should be accountable for what happened there, not the minister, and trying to bring her in muddies those waters. For Loony Politics, I'm Dale Smith.